A tree can absorb as much as 48 pounds of carbon dioxide per year, and it can sequester 1 ton of carbon dioxide by the time it reaches 40 years old. Today I will be discussing the importance and value of trees to the foundation of life in the natural world. Trees have a major effect on humans as well as all life on this planet. Without trees, life could not exist on Earth, and people need to learn about trees in order to help preserve them. You may be wondering, who am I? Well, I am the president of CORE, the Council of Realistic Ecologists, as well as a biology major who plans on specializing in botany. I research plants as well as read many books on plant life. I am here to inform you of the importance of trees. Let's begin. Trees have a major impact on the environment in numerous ways. Trees provide a great structural habitat for many different organisms. They are the most important structures for the terrestrial environment. They provide homes internally from the hollowing of the tree as well as externally from their branches. They are so massive that they allow numerous species to coexist without any territorial problems. In a scholarly article titled "The Future of Large Trees in Urban Landscapes," the writer Darren Lay Rock states that large old trees have been defined as keystone ecological structures because, relative to their size, they are disproportionate providers of resources crucial to other species. Which brings me on to my next point. Trees provide resources for organisms, enabling them to flourish and survive. The productions of sugars, fruits, nuts, greens, and even wood provide organisms with the proper nutrition for survival thanks to processes like photosynthesis, which provides simple sugars and oxygen from carbon dioxide, water, and light. As producers, they are the first on the food chain, allowing for diverse life. They are the starting point. Tying along with the previous point, how they provide structures for habitat, their leaves, twigs, and other resources provide bedding for organisms. Trees are natural filters, allowing for a more hygienic environment suitable for life. Trees reduce runoff caused by human activity, rain, and other things. They are also carbon sinks, which means they store carbon from sources like feces. They filter the water they are near by soaking up pollutants like excess nitrogen from fertilizer via runoff, the runoff that trees couldn't stop. Now that I've discussed how trees have a major role in the environment, let's talk about how trees affect the lives of mankind. Other than the obvious that trees allow humans to use wood for materials like paper, housing, and other things, trees release chemicals that affect humans' nervous systems as well as their physical health. There have been studies that prove that aggressive behavior as well as stress decrease while living in areas with trees. In the book titled "The Man Who Planted Trees" by Jim Robbins, it states that samples taken after hikes in the forest showed significant increases in natural killers, or NK cells, which prevent the formation of tumors. An increase in anti-cancer cells, proteins in the cells, and a reduction in the concentration of adrenaline in urine, effects that lasted weeks after the trip. Trees soak up pollution produced by humans. In keeping an eye on Jacksonville's trees, it states that in addition to reducing storm water runoff, Jacksonville's tree canopy removes air pollutants each year, a value estimated at $48.5 million annually. A photo field, which is a field of trees, was planted in Sweden. This treated about 11 tons of nitrogen a year, the production of the entire city. Trees filter the water from the pollution created by industrial corporations and farming. Trees also increase property costs as well as lower costs for things like air conditioning. A tree on one's property can skyrocket the price of the property by as much as 27%. Because of this excellent ability to shade the area, they lower the temperature by reducing heat, allowing for a lower cost for air conditioning as well as less stress on mechanical equipment like generators. This brings me to my next point. Trees help cool the city streets, homes, and protect people from UV rays. After doing a study on a cluster of trees in a city environment, tests proved that incoming solar radiation was normally at a minimum under a cluster of tree crowns and at a maximum for street canyon north-south. Trees produce a chemical known as isoprene, which has is the most abundant forest aerosol, with 40,000 different chemicals. More than 500 million tons of isoprene are emitted annually by the forests of the world, and one of its key atmospheric roles is to protect trees from solar radiation. In other words, it acts as a natural sunscreen for the planet. This aerosol coats the earth and its inhabitants, giving them protection from UV rays. Now that you know the role trees have on humans, let's talk about a world without trees. Before starting this next section, I would like to supply you with a quote to think about. What is generally overlooked is the role of the chemicals emitted by trees in the maintenance of the biosphere. We are headed toward a world with little to no trees. Deforestation, pollution, and general ignorance is harming the environment as we speak. We as a population are destroying more trees than we are planting, and at this rate there will be no trees left in the nearby future. With this being said, the environment will become unsuitable for the growth and foods as well as other resources. With increased runoff, less natural soil treatment, which the trees provided, as well as more pollutants in the soil, humans will not be able to grow nearly as much food as we do today, resorting to smaller areas that have been treated time after time in order to grow the smallest vegetable. This is if they can even manage that. Greenhouse gases will retain too much heat. Overall, pollution rates will cause hazardous conditions. Like we went over before, trees use photosynthesis in order to produce oxygen and simple sugars. One of the components to do this is that they need carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the leading cause of global warming. In early 2015, the seasonally adjusted concentration of carbon dioxide in Earth's atmosphere was close to 400 parts per million, with a recent growth of between 2 and 4 parts per million per year. A study in 2012 shows that carbon dioxide contributes to roughly 82% of the greenhouse gases emitted by human activity. Because carbon dioxide is the leading component of greenhouse gases, its quantity makes it have the most effect on global warming. Without trees, this effect would be much more severe, and I cannot stress that enough. Also, animals, insects, fish, and other organisms will die off quickly and life will cease to exist. If trees are no more, there will be no natural filters and global warming will occur. This causes pollution rates to be extremely high in soil, as well as in freshwater streams where trees help filter. Global warming will cause extreme climate change, heating the oceans, making it unbearable for smaller organisms to live, like phytoplankton, which play a huge role in the environment, where they too carry out photosynthesis. On a more macro scale, animals, insects, and fish will all eventually die out due to extreme drought-like conditions, and our planet will look more like our neighboring planet, Mars, than Earth. While conducting some research, I came across an article on the Weather Channel titled Mega Drought Risk Growing for the United States Climate Model Show, written by Sean Breslin. It states that 60% chance of a decades-long drought by the end of the century. That is if we can get the greenhouse emissions level out by 2050. If emissions continue to increase at its current rate, there is an 80% chance of Southwest Plains megadrought by 2099. To review, I first discussed how trees hold a huge impact on the natural world, impacting organisms by providing them with habitat, resources, and with a more hygienic environment suitable for life. I also discussed how trees have a huge role in the lives of humans by affecting their bodies and minds in ways only the subconscious mind can pick up. Also, how they reduce pollution rates by soaking up pollution produced by humans, how they increase price for value of properties, yes, reduce cost for maintenance and use of machinery, and lastly, how they are an incredible sunscreen for the land and humans. Finally, I discussed how without trees, this world would plummet into an unstable environment that is not suitable for the growth of other vegetation. Also, the greenhouse gases would increase due to outrageous carbon dioxide emissions, causing devastating global warming attack on the inhabitants of Earth, all in which are inevitably lead to the extinction of life via overheating and mega droughts. In conclusion, we are headed towards unimaginable events, and it is evident that the future depends absolutely on the will and ability of countries with tropical forests to the development and apply effectively policies of unstable and equitable use among the policies for the unsustainable use of the forest resources. Trees are the most important for the foundation of life and the maintenance of the natural world here on Earth.